Hello, and welcome to tonight's web class on core values and beliefs, hosted by me, Keisha Golder. I thank you guys for being here. You're most likely here because you want to know more about core values and beliefs. So let's get started. Have you ever been in a relationship where you guys felt like you were meshing with everything and everything was on point, and then you decided that maybe you wanted to go a step further and get engaged? But before, of course, you are able to get married, you're going through premarital courses. And one of the assignments for this particular course is for you to each categorize these lists of words that you are given. And the words are values. You go to your space and do your list. Your significant other goes to their space and they do their list. When you guys come back together, you notice things are not in alignment. His values are nowhere near the things that you wrote down that were your values. Initially, of course, you're getting upset and you're like, this is not going to work. We are nothing alike. We don't believe in the same things. We don't value the same things. But he's able to calm you down and you decide that you want to have a conversation about your list so that you can get a better understanding of why he wrote down the things that he wrote and he can get a better understanding of why you wrote the things that you wrote. During this conversation, you realize you didn't write down values. You wrote down things that you believe. He wrote down everything that he values and holds true to himself and is not going to be made to change those things for anyone else. So now that you have the better understanding of what values and beliefs are, you go back and you redo your assignment. When you redo it, you realize that your values do line up. You just were mistaken altogether when you first did the assignment. Most of us, at one point or another, have mistaken our values as beliefs. Now, you're probably like, what is the difference? Here is a graphic that I'm going to show you that shows what core values and beliefs are. Core values motivate us and our actions. They help us make decisions in our lives. They have priority in our lives, but some of those priorities, so the values that I may prioritize today may not be the same values that I prioritize 6 months from now, especially if I'm a person who is continuously working on personal development and growing. Because as we grow and learn more and experience more in life, our values do change. Not that we do not value the same things, the priorities of those values change. Values help us see things that are important. These are the things that we will put before anything. For a lot of people, a value is family. So that it may be at the top of their list. And for these people, they will drop any and everything to make sure that they are there to help their family and that they spend time with their family. And the last is that values are related to our needs. Values are going to help us understand what we need, and they're also going to help us accomplish the goals to reach those needs so that it's no longer a need. Beliefs are oftentimes based on things that we're told and that we hold these things to be true. I can tell you a belief that I still have to this day as a 40-year-old woman that my grandmother told me when I was a kid. Her belief that women who wear red lipstick and nail polish are, is several terms for this, ladies of the night or streetwalkers. And until this day, I have yet to wear red lipstick, and I've had red nail polish on my nails one time, and I dreaded the entire time that I had red nail polish on because that belief that my grandmother instilled in me kept popping up in my head. Our beliefs also come from experiences in life where we learn certain things. A good example now is our children are learning a lot about technology, whereas technology may not have been good for all of us when we were growing up because it wasn't something that was readily available. But now, children these days can't live without technology because it's all that they know. It's that is their belief that their life is better because of technology. The beliefs that we have are can affect our morals because we believe certain things, we hold these things to be true, and these are the things that some of our morals are based on. Our values also helps to determine some of our beliefs. And the last thing is beliefs do not need proof. Anyone can believe anything, and they do not have to share what they believe with, or they do not have to share the proof for why they believe it. If they say they believe it and it's true to them. Now, if you are a person who is always thinking that what I believe is what I believe and it has no, like, I don't have values, my beliefs aren't based on my values, take a second and think about what your actual core values are. Do you even know what your core values are? Do you know how to determine what your core values are? Because if you don't know what your core values are, you can't unequivocally state that your beliefs are not based in those core values. So, how can you determine what your core values are if you don't know? This is one thing that I say goes across the board for any personal development is that you really have to sit with yourself. You have to sit with yourself, you have to clear your mind, and you have to think about things that you've experienced in life because a lot of the things that we've experienced have an effect on us and will in turn determine some of the things that we like, that we don't like, that we see as important, and the things that we don't see as important. So you can find a list of words on Google that can be classified as core values. You can look that list up, but while you're looking at the list and you're looking at the different things and you're thinking about the different things in your life that, and how they relate to this list, write down the things that are sticking out to you. And as they're sticking out to you, categorize them. So if you've written down a list of 50 words, now you have to categorize those because 9 times out of 10, some of them are going to overlap or be similar. And once you're able to categorize those, that's when you're able to pick one word that can be synonymous for the whole section. And you're going to find that you have to do that multiple times when creating this list in order to get your list down to maybe 4 or 6 words that are your basic core values, the ones that are extremely important. And it's going to take some time. But of course, we have the time to do it because we want to get better. We want to learn. We want to continue to grow. And so while you're writing this list and you're breaking them down into the categories, think about a belief that is associated with that category. And I'm quite sure you'll realize that you never realized it until that point when you were able to identify your core values. That belief that came from your grandmother or your mother or even yourself is rooted in something stronger than just being passed down. For me, my main belief is I want freedom. That is something very important to me. And it doesn't mean to be free from the law or anything like that. It just means to be free. I want to be free financially. I want to be mentally free where I don't have any constraints on me placed by anyone else. I want my children to be free. I want to be free to spend my time the way that I want. That is important to me because that is one of my core values. I am going to do any and all the things that I need to do to make sure that I get to that point. So if it's continuing some type of education or training that's going to make sure that I'm able to be financially free from debt and anything else, then that's what I'm going to do. If it's taking courses to make sure that I'm more confident and I grow stronger in my abilities, that's something that I'm going to do. You'll find that your core values, when you know them and when you're living aligned with them, they will help you to focus on your goals, to create your goals. They're going to help you focus on the journey in your life, whether it's finding your life purpose, whether it's finding just your place in life. Your core values are essentially connected to the bone. It's the blueprint that's going to help you reach everything else that you want to accomplish in your life. And so I have some examples of core values here that I'm going to share with you guys. And I'm going to share with you what they are and what it will look like for a person who is living with this core value. And so I have 8 examples of core values. First core value that I have on here is communication. So for someone who values communication, you have to like information being relayed properly to you. So this looks like someone saying, we have a meeting tomorrow. The meeting starts at 8 a.m. It will end at 9 a.m. It will be at this location. Please make sure you're on time. Everything that you need to take notes will already be there. But on the flip side of that, you also have to be able to make sure that you are relaying information effectively and that not only can you relay the information, but making sure that other people hear you and understand what you're saying. A lot of people say that communication is key. It's not only being able to relay the information, it's being able to be comprehensive of the information that you've received. So it works both ways. If I'm a person who holds communication, I have to be able to give it as well as receive it and comprehend it so that I'm able to move forward with whatever information was transacted. Another core value is structure. So for people who like structure, you like to have control over everything that you are involved in because it gives you a sense of security. It also gives you a sense of being able to discipline and manipulate the things that are going on. This, I can say, used to be high on my priority list. It's not so much anymore because I've learned that me trying to control everything does not actually help me. It hurts me in the long run. So, yes, I do like structure, but I'm no longer a person who needs to manipulate everything so that the structure is there. I'll go through something that is not structured to my liking only because I know that I've learned that I can't control everything. So that's not a that is not a core value that is of high priority of mine anymore. Growth is another core value. So if you grow and if you value growing and this is high on your list, that means you never want to settle. So you get to a place, you set a goal for yourself and you get to that goal. You're not going to stop there. You're going to set another goal and you're going to make sure you hit that goal. And then you're going to set another one and you're going to keep going because being complacent is not suitable for you. You want to make sure that you're always moving, you're always learning, you're always shaking. You're not staying in the same place for too long because it is boring for you and it doesn't help you. Inner peace is another core value. This is one that is really particular on my list because people who have inner peace and value inner peace, they're comfortable with who they are. They don't worry about the people around them. They don't worry about how someone else is living. All they are focused on is who they are, how they feel, and the life that they are living. They have that peace. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to want to share that peace with other people. Self awareness is another core value that a lot of people have on their list. And this just means that you have the ability to be able to recognize when you mess up, but not only recognize when you mess up, but correct it so that you won't mess up again in that same fashion. Self awareness is, I find, something that a lot of us feel that we have, but we don't necessarily have it to the capacity of actually checking ourselves and correcting ourselves so that we are doing exactly what we're supposed to. Open mindedness is another core value that I hold really important to me because you're able to consider other people's thoughts, other people's opinions. You might not agree with them, but because you are able to accept them, you don't make someone feel bad for how they feel or how they think. And that is important to me because we're not always going to agree. But just because I don't agree with you does not mean I have to make you feel bad about yourself. Honesty is a core value that is high on many people's list. And sometimes, I know for me, I've had people tell me that honesty is a core value of theirs, but they do everything under the sun in terms of lying, cheating, and stealing. That's not in alignment with your core values. So that means you are not fully on track to be who you're supposed to be because you're out of whack. You can't value honesty when you're doing everything that is the opposite of it. Respect is another core value that a lot of people have on their list. And that's basically making sure that you're respectful of others and you expect others to be respectful of you. You expect them to be polite when you come into a room. If you speak, you expect them to speak back. You also expect them to speak to you in a manner that doesn't make you feel like you were talked to in a harsh way. So these are just some examples of core values that you may come across that may be on your list now or that you may end up putting on your list at some point in your life. These things may become a priority to you. Now, once you get your list together, I would say that you should write it down and keep it somewhere. Whether you put it on post-its and put it on your wall so that you see it every day, so that you're reminded, because sometimes life happens and things get so overwhelming that we forget the basics. These core values are essentially the basics of what we're building ourselves on. And if we don't have that foundation, everything else crumbles around us. It's just like a house needs a foundation to stand on. But instead of having the frame with the wood, we have these core values. So if you have not, or if you do not know what your core values are, I want you to take a couple of minutes today, tomorrow, sometime this week, and try to identify what your core values are. And once you identify what they are, take the time to see if where you are at in life is reflective of those core values. And if they're not, do you know how you can move forward to make sure that your core values is reflected in your daily life? If you don't, then maybe you need to take on a stronger role of understanding, gaining more knowledge on core values and how they affect your life. Also, take a look at your beliefs because sometimes your beliefs may hold you back from actually understanding your what you really and truly value. Try to distinguish between those things so that you have a clear understanding of who you are down to your core, because that's the important thing. Because once you have that, no one can take it away from you, no one can use it against you, and you have the key to unlock anything in this world that you want because you know who you are and what you are capable of. I hope you've enjoyed this class. If you would like to talk to me more about core values, beliefs, or anything else, you should book a session with me. Just go to KeishaGolder.com/let's talk to book your session. I'll see you guys next